Let me refresh the page. Hello, child.
Uh,
Let's see. Refresh. No, I lost Gina. Okay, there she is. All right.
I'm back.
I thought I lost you.
Yep.
Let's see. Did that work? It did. All right.
Yes.
Perfect on the first try.
Of course,
I mean,
obviously.
wow.
That's the way.
Man, all right. So, yes, we are in and we are live. Thank you for joining me tonight, Gina.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to be here, but I'm kind of nervous because I love games and I love Twitch so much. I've never been live on Twitch, so
This is your first
my
time?
first. Yeah,
Well,
I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited.
maybe this will be the beginning of a new love for you.
If you've ever wanted to see a 42-year-old woman stream, today's the day.
I'm sure there's a market for it.
Somewhere. There's not a lot of us out there,
There's
so
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you'd be
no.
cornering the market, so
Yeah,
so
exactly.
there's plenty of space
100%.
for you. But yes, everyone, thanks for joining us tonight for this episode of The Pickup, the voiceover podcast where I bring in my community and friends in the voiceover community, and we just talk about, again, from last episode, what I really started this podcast for is I see that all of the time there's a lot of podcasts and webinars with these huge names in voiceover and the tops of the tops and, the agents of the AAA agencies and blah, blah, blah. But, us little guys, we got to fend for ourselves every once in a while.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's nice to know that there are people somewhere in between just starting and buying billion-dollar mansions with voiceover money. So
Yeah.
that's us.
That's us. I'm on the climb.
You're on the climb, yeah.
Yeah.
You're almost up there with all
I'm
the rest
trying.
of them. So I'm glad I got you before you didn't
Before
have
I'm just
time
too
for
big.
yeah, before you're just too
Yeah,
large for
obviously.
you wouldn't be able to fit in the podcast with
Yeah,
me.
of
But,
course.
yeah. So but let's get the generic out of the way first. So
Okay.
what was the catalyst that brought you to voiceover? What made you want to get into doing voiceover yourself? What started it all for you?
I mean, honestly, even since I was like a little girl, I always loved recording myself. I would hang out at my grandparents' house on Sundays in the basement
Hmm.
and have a tape recorder and act like I was a DJ or interviewing someone. And when I was 19, I started an internship at a radio station here in Connecticut, and I ended up on the air for 8 years, and I loved it.
8
I loved it.
years.
Yeah, it was a long
8
time. All
years.
over Connecticut. I ended up on a morning show in Poughkeepsie, New York. Um, I got to go to concerts and meet lots of artists and interview a ton of people. And I just loved it. I also grew up doing theater at the same time. And though I have a certain affection for theater because it ran in my family, there
Yeah.
was just always something about radio and voiceover. Like, I don't know, just
Mm.
put me in a room by myself. That's it. So,
Like just like me in a room with a microphone. I'm good. I don't
yeah,
want to do
just
anything
leave me
else.
alone. No, but I'm not big like on getting up in front of a crowd of people. I think sometimes people see me as being really outgoing, but I'm kind of introverted, and
Hmm.
I just loved voiceover. I love all of it. I love commercial, I love explainer videos, I love obviously animation and gaming. Just,
Yeah. Yeah.
everything about it really spoke to me from the time I was very, very young.
Man, that's great. It's good that you had a huge start into it with that 8 years that you were doing radio and everything, and that was probably a huge boost for you to get into, well, to transition, I guess. To there's a lot of radio and like imaging folks that get into voiceover, but they quickly find that it's not the same thing exactly. There's a
No.
few similarities, but it's not. It doesn't all just follow one to one. So. Um,
Yeah, I think because radio can be like a little presentational sometimes, and have
yeah,
like really big energy, and voiceover, especially now, leans so much more towards authentic and conversational.
for
However,
sure.
I do feel like my time like doing morning radio was really helpful just because I was able to co-host and I filled in on other stations for morning shows. And that's really like where that sort of conversational aspect comes into play. But I learned a lot of things. I mean, I learned how to use Adobe Audition back when it was called Cool Edit. I feel
Ew.
like a dinosaur, but cool.
Cool
What a
edit.
90s name.
Wow.
Cool Edit.
Yeah, I was like, I've never
Yeah,
heard of that.
it's awkward. But I learned, yeah, like I learned how to produce and edit commercials, and those are skills that I still bring with me today. So
Yeah,
there's definitely like pros and cons to having come from radio, but
for sure.
ultimately, I feel like it really, really helped me quite a bit.
Do you feel more at home doing voiceover, or would you rather go back to radio one day, kind of, get back on the airwaves again like that?
Well, if anyone thinks you're gonna make a lot of money in radio, I'll just burst your bubble right now and let you know
It's
that
not. It's
it's
not.
not gonna do it. It's not gonna do it. No, but
Oh man.
I do miss radio sometimes. I
Yeah.
actually stay in touch with my first boss who gave me my first internship back in, like, I don't know, 1998. We
Oh
still stay in
man.
touch, and every now and then I'm just like, "You know what? I kinda miss radio." It was fun. It definitely had some really great times. It was also very hard being in radio though
Yeah.
because, it's just hard being like a female in general. There's not a lot of female voices. So, on any station, there could be maybe one, maybe two if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Full time, definitely not. One. So you really had to fight and have thick skin. Also something that helped me in
I re-
voiceover.
I really, it's still unfortunate that I hear that nonstop all the time in
Oh yeah.
every class, workout, everything that I'm in, that
Mhm.
there's still. Do you think that it's do you think that there's not space for women in voiceover and radio right now, or is that growing? Is it to a place where, we would like to see more, or
Well, I wonder
what do you
how much
think?
it's changed because I left in like the sort of like later mid to late 2000s, and I feel like the world has changed quite a bit since then, and I hope that we've evolved. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's very much a boys' club, and you just I grew up kind of being a tomboy, and so I sort of liked a lot of that world. But I mean, there's a lot of things that are said and done, and it's like when you're a female, it's like that's a little
Yeah.
questionable. And some stations were really great about being respectful of women in radio, and
That's
some
awesome.
stations were not, and that was not awesome. But
Yeah, not at all.
no, not really. But I mean, I don't know why it's so male dominated, but it was very hard to break into radio, and I feel really lucky that I was able to do it for 8 years on many different stations, all different kinds of formats and all different times of day, from like the afternoon drive to morning radio. And so I definitely feel lucky, and it opened a lot of doors for me because
Yeah,
when
I
I
bet.
left radio, I went on to become an entertainment reporter, and I ran several websites and
Were you on
hosted a
TMZ?
podcast. What?
No,
No.
I'm just kidding.
I was the editor in chief of Reality Wanted. Don't ask me how I ended up in the reality TV world, but I if you can name a reality show from like the 2000s, man, I interviewed everybody.
Oh
Survivor,
man,
Project Runway, Amazing Race, Top Chef, The Real World. It was
that's pretty
so
awesome
so
though.
but radio led me to that, to doing entertainment reporting and podcasting, which ultimately then led to me trying to do voiceover from home and now being a full-time voice actor. But it all goes back to like that
Man.
internship at 19. And I tell my old boss all the time, he's always like, "You're giving me too much credit." I'm like, "No, if you
He's like,
didn't
it's
give me
all
that
because of you.
I'm telling you, man, if I didn't have that internship at 19 running around getting ham sandwiches for him
Yeah.
and learning how to run the board when he needed a pee break, like, I wouldn't be here." It's so true though, and, like,
Oh, that's
everything
crazy.
matters. Every
That's
relationship
crazy.
matters, every step matters all the way, and it's been, like, a 23-year journey for
I
me
was
to
gonna
get
say
here.
you've been on this track the
I've been around.
entire time. That's
Yeah,
Man, that's great.
I
Ah,
started in voiceover really in, like, 2014, and then during the pandemic, I made some decisions to put
go
myself
full
in full
bore.
for exactly.
Mm,
I was like, there's never been a better time, I think, for me to just take that leap. There was a
yeah,
lot going on in the world, and I was like, "What the heck? I need to pay my bills or I'm gonna be, like, homeless." So I was
right.
like, "I'm just gonna try to do voiceover full time, and I've been really lucky over the last, year and a half especially.
Were you when the pandemic started and you made the switch over to full bore voiceover? Were you working before that and you had lost your job because of the pandemic, or?
Well, I made the stupid mistake to open a business in 2020.
Oh
I don't know. Yeah,
no!
so I walked away from, a job that I had that paid me, an annual salary. I had a regular paycheck, and
Yeah.
I decided to take a chance and step away and open my own business. So what I did was I opened it was a vocal performance studio. I was
Okay.
teaching kids and teens. We had set a calendar through the whole first half of 2020 to be out in the community singing. And my whole thing was, let's like share our voices in the community. Let's get involved in community events and let's use our talent for good.
Mhm.
But of course, everything we had signed up for, whether it was the Relay for Life cancer benefit or opening day of Little League, it all got canceled because of COVID. I lost 3 months
Oh.
of income. My kids were all stuck home, isolated, no theater, no singing, no school, no friends. And I was like, we gotta like do something. Like, I gotta do something and
That's a
we gotta do
shame.
something. So actually, I mean, it was scary, it was stressful.
Right.
But I during 2020, we actually ended up doing 5 live shows safely.
Yeah.
Nobody got sick. They were
Good, good.
outdoors, they were masked and all kinds of things. But I also and besides taking my own career up a level, I taught them all how to do voiceover, and some of them, man, they have taken off. Walmart, Target, Nintendo, PBS. 2 of them are in a movie. Like, it's just been
What?
sharing, you know? I like to help other people, and
I was like, I need to get in one of your class.
you're
Whatever
like,
you're
"Can I
doing,
be"
I need to go. Let me go ahead and get it.
Yeah, you're
let
like,
me sh-
"Hold on."
let me get my
Yeah,
kid voice ready.
exactly. So that was like, there's even though the pandemic obviously has been extremely challenging, it was full of, a lot of hardship and uncertainty and a lot of scary times, and I'm a person that's very, anxious about, like, health-centered things. I have a really
Hmm.
hard time with that. I really channeled that energy into, like, my career, but into the people around me, into my kids. I taught a ton of free workshops teaching people, like stage actors and screen actors, how to do voiceover. I tried to give back to the community, and,
Man,
it's
that's
brought me a lot of
awesome.
great things. It's been kind of unbelievable.
That is,
If you
yeah.
told me I'd be, where I am now 2 years ago, I would have laughed and said, "Never."
You would have never thought it.
No, I would have just been still doing small town stuff, a small town girl from Connecticut.
But I think that I hear that story more often than not too. People are just if you'd have told me X years ago that I'd be
Yeah,
doing voiceover and getting
no.
paid for it, I would have never thought it. But and I think that's really like I don't know if I would say it's a disservice, but it's voiceover is this like cloak and dagger hidden back alley like
Yeah, it is.
industry, and no one
Yes.
talks about it but everyone knows it's there, and it's so weird that I hear that all the time, that it's just people over and over saying, I was doing this, but then normally the thing is I lost a job, I got laid
Yeah.
off, I got hurt, something, something. So I said, "What the
Mhm,
hell? I'll try voiceover," and then
mhm.
everybody's thriving, and I love to hear it because your boy might be hanging out with that full time crew here soon too. But we'll see,
Yeah.
we'll see. But
I
that's
mean,
awesome.
there's no and from doing voiceover too, there's
Mm.
no, like, guide. There's no
There's
way.
not
So you're just running around like, "I don't know what I'm doing." So, when
chicken
I
with
first
head
started
cut
in
off.
2014, like, in 2014, the only thing I even knew was, like, Fiverr. I was like, "I don't know how to get work."
Right.
And I'm not I'm telling you, I'm built to be home. I'm like a little turtle in my little shell. I'm not great at, like,
You
traveling,
don't want to
going
go
to
to
the city.
parties and
Nope.
conferences and
No,
hangouts and
I
all.
don't even wanna go on a subway. I don't even wanna go on a train. I don't wanna go anywhere. So I didn't
Oh
see
man.
myself going to New York. So without this possibility of really going to New York,
Hmm.
which annoys my sister because she lives there, and she's like, "Please come see me." But,
Right.
without that possibility of really going to New York and sort of being not stuck in Connecticut, but just being here, I just never even pursued anything beyond. But when the pandemic happened and opened up the doors for all these remote opportunities, I was
Hmm.
like, this is
Be
the
like, this
moment, and
is
if
the
I
time.
wait
Yeah.
on it, yeah, I will regret it. But
Yeah.
yeah, before that, like, I really just I didn't know how to do anything, and even when I started getting agents and bookings and stuff, I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing," and there's no how do you find out? So,
Right.
thankfully, there's this great community of people, and I had some great mentors and people kind of helping me along. But you get in, you're like, it's like the Wild West.
It is very much the Wild West.
Yeah.
There are tons of people telling you this is the way that you have to do it, and those very same people that didn't do it that way. So
yes, everyone has. Welcome to voiceover, where
Right.
everyone has an opinion, and a lot of those opinions are just recycled from what someone else told them. And it's not even based in like experience, fact, or reality. So
Yeah.
I think you're the same way, that like I sort of sourced a lot of people's opinions and feedback and then decided, well, okay, but here, this is what works for me and this is the path I'm going to be on. And even when I give people advice, like when I'm teaching workshops or coaching, a lot of times I try to say things like, in my experience, or this is just my opinion, but
Right.
you don't have to, it's not like the Bible, like
Right.
just, this is just one girl's opinion.
That's how it was when we were. I joined the Peace Corps back in 2015. So we went and we did our service abroad and whatnot. But everyone would ask, how do I get into the Peace Corps? What do I do in the Peace Corps? But we had the standard answer. Every volunteer's experience is different.
Yeah.
And because there's no one way to do the Peace Corps. The voiceover is the same exact way. Every person's experience is different. Everyone's getting into it a different way, one way or another. Some people stumbling into it. Some people, they had a friend that brought them into it. There's so many different ways to get into VO. And I always tell anyone that's starting in VO, if someone tells you have to do this, you find somebody else. That's not.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
you
like
have
the
to
VO.
do this to get into voiceover. That's not, you don't.
No, I feel like I'm the VO rebel sometimes. Like everyone's like, oh, you gotta have like, the really expensive demo. I'm like, I just made my own, and somehow it got me agents and a manager and really, great jobs with great brands and stuff. But I didn't have a lot of money. Obviously, like I said, my business had lost 3 months of income, and that, I mean, sometimes I still feel like I'm trying to you lose 3 months of income. It put me in debt and all kinds of stuff. So, I had like $500 and I was like, I'm just gonna like
do it.
try. I'm just gonna, I'll get a Rode NT1A as my mic and a Focusrite Solo.
And just
got one little job, and then I was like, okay, I'll put that money into voices.com. That has been,
That's
Voices
what
has
started
its
you, huh?
pros and cons, but it started, that's how I booked L'Oreal. That's how I booked VSP. Those things got me my LA agent, my New York agent. And then it was just growing and going from there. And I was just saying to someone on Twitter the other day, like it's like suddenly it's like a snowball. Like you feel like you're trotting along and then suddenly something starts to go. Okay, wait, have you ever played Animal Crossing?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, okay. Hi, who are we talking to here? Okay, but like in the winter, they're like rolling that little snowball.
Yeah.
That's like voiceover.
It is.
It's like one thing, it just starts going and going, and it just picks up from there, and you don't know when that's going to happen, but you just try to go along the best you can.
Yeah, I tell people, I started, I moved down here to Texas just with like a couple bucks in my savings, and I was like, yeah, I'll just do voiceover. It's no problem. It's easy, whatever. And so it wasn't easy. So I started out very slowly, and me coming from like academia and like government work, I was like, it's been a year and I haven't made like a substantial amount of money. This doesn't work, so I'm out of here. So I was gonna quit, but like after time, like I got a job, and then I got a job, and then I got 3 jobs, and then I got like several jobs. And I was like, wow, okay, maybe I just needed to give it a little more time, because I definitely wasn't ready when I first started, but I thought
me neither.
But
I was like
but it
submitting.
happened,
I was submitting horrible demos to agents.
Yeah.
So bad. Like my agent in Atlanta, I can't even believe he ever ended up picking me up, because I started like submitting to him maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, but it was like so bad. I was like, I totally understand why you ignored me for 2 years. And then finally, like, maybe like 6 or 8 months ago, he was like, okay, I'll put you on my roster. And I was like, okay, well, at least now I have something like decent to show for.
Now you have lots to show for it. Yeah.
My emails to people when I first was trying to like go big they're
like
so
your
bad.
Marketing emails?
Maybe just the samples and the demo. Like one day I feel like I need to put it on Twitter just so we can all have a good laugh and be like, just so you know, like we all make mistakes. We all like cringe at ourselves. And like you were saying, like you were like, maybe I should just quit. I think like even now, like there was a day, I don't know what it was, maybe like May or June, early summer, where I was like crying and I was like, I quit. Like, I don't want to do this. And my sister was like, shut up. Like, no, that is not, like, you're just having a bad day.
Yeah.
And like my friends were like, no, you're not quitting. And I was like, you're right. I know. I
Right,
love it.
right.
But,
Well,
it's hard.
you kind of touched on a couple things that I want to ask you about that you
Okay.
since you brought them up. One
Yeah.
of them being you have been very successful. Like you just finished a national Xfinity campaign.
Yeah.
You've done all these big jobs, like you said, L'Oreal, and you've worked with all these companies and stuff. But you have committed the cardinal voiceover sin
Oh,
of
no.
creating your own demos.
I did. I
How
know.
how do how,
Sorry.
like
I did it. I'm going to
go
tell you about it.
talk about
All
it?
right.
Like where did you start
All
learning
right.
to like do the engineering and everything? Is that coming from the radio background or
Yeah, I
what?
mean, first of all, like, when I say it, it's like, okay, I know I probably shouldn't. I mean, I still think I probably shouldn't have done it, but whatever. It is what it is. I didn't have a lot of money and I was like, I'm going to try to make it like my own way and
Mm,
if someone doesn't like that, that's fine. But I believe that there are people and I believe and I know that there are people in casting and in agencies who are like you don't need to spend thousands of no, you
$75,000 for a
don't. You
demo?
don't. And
Yeah.
they no, and some of them are even like, I'm sorry, like demos are kind of cheesy. Like they're and so then you're like, well, great, I just spent like all this money. And some agents are like, oh no, you need to have the best demos. So
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, I think my background in radio kind of, gives me a little bit of an edge because I've produced radio commercials for many years. And so, I have that experience, but and I'm also a writer. Like I said, I wrote for many years. I was an editor in chief. My sister is also an editor. My whole family are like English
All
majors and stuff.
editors.
So yeah, my sister and I, we write together for people. Like we help,
Nice.
when we work on people's stuff, like we
I mean,
we
like
write
writing the
together.
copy and everything
Yeah,
and
we'll
all
write
that
the
stuff.
copy
Yeah.
and so, I mean, also what I would do is just every time I booked something on something like voices, like L'Oreal, I would just add it to my demo. I
Mm.
mean, what I did for L'Oreal was like a 10. I mean, I can't even believe I booked it. It's ridiculous. But I sometimes I'm like, why? Why? I don't even know. I wasn't even going to audition. And there were like 80 people that auditioned. I was like a 60% voice match. And I was like, I mean,
Yeah. You're
whatever.
like, why
And then
not?
they
You
were
know?
like, you. And I was like, I'm sorry, me? I would never. So, but I put it on my commercial demo, even though what it really is like a 10 video series on L'Oreal's YouTube channel for how to dye your hair at home. So it's not a commercial.
I
It's an
mean,
explainer video.
yeah, it's
Too bad.
explainers. Yeah.
Okay, well, it went on my commercial demo and you know what? It's fine. It's fine. And so did like VSP, like how to enroll in benefits. Like I
Yep.
just started adding these clips and saying,
This is my
this
demo.
is what I have,
Yep.
And, like I said, I have agents in New York, Atlanta, LA, a manager, like, and I book like pretty regularly. And now what I do is like, that Xfinity commercial comes out.
Hmm.
It's the lead on my demo. It goes like
Yeah, for
Xfinity.
sure.
I think it's like Xfinity. So, I mean, for those of you, like, if you're watching or here or there, here on Twitch, on YouTube after, if you're making a demo, like, one piece of advice is like, you really want to lead with like your most conversational thing because that's what everybody wants to hear. And
Right.
then you hit them with your most impressive thing. And then if
And
they're
then
still
you roll the
listening,
rest. Yeah.
you can count your blessings from above because you're lucky if
Right.
they listen past 20 seconds. So
Right.
my demo goes like Xfinity into Invesco, which both my national commercials, into
Nice.
Google Nest, and then into a couple Gateway and a couple other things. So, I mean, I just feel like I was able to do it on my own. Now, you and I were talking, separately, and I was
Hmm.
telling you like that I'm going to do my animation demo, like I'm going to go big with it
Right.
because
Right.
I feel like that's a genre that I'm breaking into and I don't have a ton of stuff to show. I have some gaming stuff, some games
Right.
coming out this year, but to me it's like, okay, well here's a situation where I've now doing this full time. This is my income. I can invest back in myself. So I am going to do a bigger, animation demo.
Right.
And I think that will benefit me to do so. But
For
there's all
sure.
different ways you can do it.
Yeah, there are different ways to do it. Like just like getting in, there's different approaches that you can take. So,
Yeah.
the other thing that I wanted to ask you about,
Yeah.
I when I put out the call for people to sign up and come and join on to the podcast,
Yeah.
I got a flood of people that wanted to be on, and I was like, this is awesome, that's great.
That's great.
But I noticed one thing that was consistent through every single person but you. And some of these people have been saying, I've got 4 years, 5 years, 10 years plus experience in voiceover. I've done this,
Mhm.
I'm in this game, I'm in this game. None of these people have an agent. Do
Mhm.
you think that having representation through agency is important? Is it a big part of your voiceover business, or what do you think that these people should start, putting together their own demo and start hitting some agents, or what?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got stuff to show, why not? I mean, the thing about agents is they're going to have jobs that you're just never going to see. You're not, I mean, you're certainly not going to see it on Fiverr.
No.
You're not. So let's just get that out the way.
No.
You're not going to see it there. Okay. If you want to be on Fiverr, like, I'm not one of those people that's like, some people are so rude, by the way, about people on Fiverr. I just feel like, here's my advice about what you should be cautious about. You're not going to find some of these jobs on Voices or Voice 123.
Right.
You're not even going to find them through direct marketing through ad agencies. These agents have some jobs that, they're huge campaigns that, you want to you want to be competing for them. So that's why that's why I want agents and I'm happy to have agents. But
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just a hustler by nature and I book a ton of work on my own. It's just, I mean, I think they're great to have. They're sort of, to me, it's like they're the icing on the cake. I think
Right.
some people think they're the cake and they're the
I
icing on
think
the
so
cake.
too. I think
No,
some
no,
people
they're
think
the
that,
icing.
once you get your agent, like you're made, you're done, everything's
Yes.
good. Give me that Robert Downey Jr. money, and they just kind of sit back and wait for it to roll in. But
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. I think even I thought that too, like when I first was sort of like making this little venture into like really professional voiceover, I was thinking like,
Mhm.
man, I can't wait to get an agent because they're just gonna send me jobs all day and I won't even have to hustle. It's like
Right. I'm just gonna work all day and that's it. Whatever they send
I
me, I
thought they'll
do it.
just send me stuff and I'll just book it and I
Yeah.
won't even need to try. And it's like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Mm,
That
not
reality slapped me in the
exactly.
face real fast. So, I mean, like getting in with an agent is very hard. It's super competitive. The voiceover market is flooded more than it's ever been. You have everybody
Absolutely.
under the sun and trying to do voice acting for like you said, a variety of reasons. Maybe it
Mhm.
was always their dream. Maybe they're doing it because, they've lost their job and they're trying to figure something else out. One time their aunt told them they had a nice voice and they
Yeah.
decided that they should be a
There's
voice
so
actor.
many of that, yeah.
When people say that, I'm like, just I'm gonna stop you right there. It's so not relevant. And they're like, everyone tells me I have a good voice. I'm like, everyone didn't say that. Two people said it, and now you said everyone said it, but everyone
Mhm.
didn't say that. Not everyone. And that's really like not even important. But, to get on an agent's roster, you need to, yeah, of course, like you have to have a good voice. But I mean, like the thing is, everyone has a good voice and
Yeah.
everyone has like, on their roster at least, a decent enough demo that they've sent over to them. So, like, what do you have to offer? So, for me, like, one thing that I think helped was, having L'Oreal and VSP was like name dropping it because,
Right.
because at the end of the day, you're there to make the agent money. And if you're booking with a company like L'Oreal, then you
Right.
can probably book with somebody else too.
Right.
So you need to present yourself, I think, as an asset to the agency. But the other thing is, and I think people don't do this enough, is it's a mutual relationship. So you should also like the agency that you're working with, and you don't need to take the first agent that comes your way.
Right.
Like you can be a little bit picky. And I sat in workshops. I sat on Zoom until the end of forever last year during the pandemic. But I sat in a lot of workshops with agents, and some of them really jumped out at me like, man, I like this person. I would be friends with them. I'd have coffee
Right.
with them. And some of them I was like, I
We're
mean,
like,
like
"Nah,
I
just not feeling
yeah, I
it."
was just like, I
Yeah.
don't think we're vibing and that's okay.
Yep.
So I feel like you have to go into it, with that kind of mindset too. Like, this is what I can do for you, and here's what you can do for me. It's a
Right.
mutual relationship, you
Right.
know?
I think that's a lot of the there's a lot of I don't want to say fear, but I think a lot of voice actors have like fear when it comes to agents because it's like, oh my God, I have to do everything to make them happy. I can't talk back. I can't ask them for anything. I can't say anything. And like you really hit the nail on the head. It's remember your agent is your partner. They don't get paid
They are your
unless you
partner.
get paid. And
Correct.
you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up with an agent that's looking out for your best interest and not have 750,000 people on their roster and you're like the last guy
Yeah.
in trying to jump on the trying to jump on the roster and get in some cool jobs with your agent that might
Ye
not happen.
I mean, you have to ask yourself a lot of things about an agency. Like,
Right.
you need to say to yourself, okay, let's say their roster is 100. Let's say it's just 100 women
100,
or
yeah.
even 50 women. Like, when a casting director sends out something, they often will send it to multiple agencies.
Right.
And so what they're saying to the and I know you know this, but they're saying like, okay, so what they're saying to the agency is, give me your 10 best women.
Mhm.
And the question I have to ask myself is, am I
In
one
my
of the
top
10
10,
am
right.
I? Is this read top 10 material? Is it top 5? I mean, sometimes it's your best 5, sometimes it's your best 3.
Right.
So you're like, I mean, it's very, very competitive. And so I think that that's really important. The other thing is with an agent, just because they're an agent, but my question about the agent is,
Hmm.
does this agent have good relationships with casting directors?
Right.
Is that like,
Who do
if
they
they're
know? How well do they know them? How long have they
exactly.
worked together?
So research them. Is this agency booking like,
Right.
if you're an agency of 2021, you're on social media and
Yep.
you're blasting it out to the world. And you look at some agencies like Atlas or DDO or CESD or
Hmm.
whoever. They're telling the whole world when their people book something.
Absolutely.
So you got to look at the agency and say, is anyone even booking? Like
Right.
who you know Someone was putting on Twitter the other day, like, this horrible thing a casting director wrote them, and I
Oh,
was like,
yeah?
"Just because you call yourself a casting director doesn't make you a casting director."
Yeah.
And this person was very, very unprofessional, but, same with agents and managers, it's like, really do your research and make sure that it's a good fit for you and that they're not there are some people out there that will try to take advantage of you,
Oh, for
like, try to
sure.
charge you money up front or make, demands of you that aren't really reasonable. Like,
Right.
"Oh, you can't work with
You can't
anyone
work with
else.
any other soul
You
but me.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
can't be."
yeah.
And it's like, well, they're not I mean, unless they're bringing you, some really great full-time salary, like, it's just there's just things to consider. I think
Right.
that's important. But I'm very thankful for my agents, and like I said, I feel like I've been able to accomplish a lot myself, which is awesome, but it's nice to have, like, a group of people around me too that are sort of
That are
helping me
trying to help
along.
you up. Yep.
Yeah, they're in my corner and they're, like I said, they're the icing. But
Right.
you just can't look at it as the cake because the cake is you.
Right. Yeah.
You are the cake.
Yeah, they're adding to it.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
exactly right. Because
100%.
but so let's say I would say the same thing for, people in the voiceover community, right? So
Mhm.
like well, not so much the same as like an agent, but there are people in the voiceover community that you'd want to get together and work with and like, talk to and have any type of, back and forth with maybe.
Mhm.
Do you have like a community or a crew that you talk to or work with regularly, or like you guys hand jobs back and forth, or
Yeah, and I have a little alliance. I
an
was like
alliance?
Survivor. You're in the alliance. You're in the
Am I
alliance.
in the alliance?
Yeah, we've traded,
Oh,
like, information
yeah, I
and
mean,
and
we've
and
traded stuff, so I didn't
we've
know. I
helped
thought
each
that was
other, right? I mean,
yeah.
so I have an alliance, of people, and I have some really great relationships with people that I would say are, like a step or 2 above me in terms
Mm,
of, what their income is and how, the big projects that they book and stuff like that. I think the most important thing about that is, like, that you go into these situations where you're trying to network with people and you're really just trying to form authentic and genuine connections. Like, first of all,
right,
let's just use you and me as an example.
right.
The reason why we know each other is because I saw on Twitter, I think you had tweeted something about GameStop and
Yeah.
somehow it showed up on my feed, and we ended up going back and forth because you're a Fnatic fan and I'm a G2 fan for League of Legends.
Worlds, baby.
I don't
Woo!
want to talk about it. I'm actually like so upset. I'm
I was
so
so oh, I was like,
I will cry on
don't
stream,
cry
but
on
no,
stream.
no,
Don't
I'm just
cry on
kidding.
stream.
But I'm like, I've been a G2 fan for quite a while. But anyway, here's my point. Like, you and I have something in common. We both, obviously we both really like League of Legends. We
Right.
both like gaming. We're both in voiceover. So these sort of things have brought us together. We've played League together. We did Clash together.
Yep.
And so we have this like genuine friendship going on. And then on top of it, we also are both voice actors trying
Right.
to make it. So we help each other out.
Yep.
So it all comes from a real and authentic and genuine place. And a lot of my very close friends in voiceover, whether they're a step above me or a step not below me, but trying to get,
Trying to
maybe
catch
to
up.
where I am.
Hmm.
Yeah, trying to catch up to me. Like the people that I keep close to me are like, they're all like real friends. And
Right.
sometimes I think people go into things and they just want something out of it. So
That's a good step into this next question that
go
you
ahead.
well, I mean, we could just roll off into it, but
Yeah.
networking.
Mhm.
It's a touchy word in our community because a
Yeah, it
lot of
is.
people think networking is just, hey, I got to go drop a card. Hey, I do this. Hire me. Okay, bye,
No.
and then walk off and do it again and again and again and like you said, it's really like forming those genuine connections with people
Yeah.
and actually like getting to meet people and learn about them and talk to them and if you play games together and then
Yeah,
oh, we happen to also do voiceover too, so let's talk about that.
of
That's
course.
great. Yeah, so like that I don't know where I was going with that, but I just want to
Well, I
point
think
out
people
how
are
important that is, because there's a lot of people
yeah.
that are just like, networking means I got to go on Twitter and
You're,
follow
like,
every
trying to sell
voiceover and
yourself.
like, yeah, so, like, that's
No,
not, there's
it's
a
really
time and a
not
place for that, and that's not within
yeah.
the circle.
It's not it, and I think the thing about networking is you really just need my lights keep, like, dimming and coming back on because I'm just cranking the AC
Oh,
testing.
yeah.
I'm testing my
Limit
electricity
testing.
here. Yeah, we're seeing if we can keep it going, but, what I was gonna say is that, networking, you really need to rethink it like relationship building, and so a lot of us in voiceover, we have taglines, we have branding and stuff like that, and I was struggling with my branding at first, but I ended up coming up with my tagline is, like, "Meet your new best friend," and the reason why I picked it was, I a lot of the stuff I book is very warm and friendly and conversational, so there's that sort of thing, but the real reason I picked it is because when I talk to people, I really want them to feel like I'm their friend. I
Right.
mean, sometimes is it marketing? Like, I guess, but not really. It's like if someone asks people ask me on Twitter all the time, they're like, "Can you help me with something?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to
Right.
jump on Zoom? Like, what do you need?" So I think like to my voiceover community, to my clients, to my agents, it's like I just want to be the kind of person that you are happy to talk to and you feel like you can rely on me. And that has been like a big part I think of some of the success that I've seen too is just when I network with people, it's really coming from like a
Just
genuine
like a,
place. And
hey, how's it going? Yeah.
I've had people around me my whole I can't I made a shady tweet about it today and I will not apologize for it. I said that they one of a streamer that I follow,
Yeah.
Wilsonator, who's a Rust, Rust
Oh,
is such
Rust
a
gamer.
toxic
Yeah.
game, but I love it. But anyway, Wilsonator's, a great Rust streamer, and he was just talking about how he's like, "Man, you don't need to step on people to get ahead. Like, don't pretend to be my friend." And
Right.
the amount of times that this has happened to me, I'm kind of like a little bit naive and trusting sometimes. I've gotten better in my old age, but even as I was like stepping up in voiceover, like I'd book something and I'd get in like messages from people like, "How'd you book that? Like, who's the company?" And I'm like, do I even know? Like, who are
Right.
you? You know
Yeah.
what I
Like,
mean? Like,
hello, nice to meet you. Good.
yeah. And then
Like,
people would like want to like, they're like, let's trade information. Like you and I did something similar. Like, I had a contact for you and you had a contact for me and it was great. It was
yeah.
great. But,
That was
but
down the
some,
line, though. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't yes, it wasn't in the first 5 minutes. We
Right.
had
Right.
already
Right.
known each
Yeah.
other for a while. But some people will be like, "Let's trade information." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Here's like the name of someone." And then they're like, "I don't got anything." I'm like,
Like,
"Okay, so like
cool.
what are we doing here?"
Right.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
trade means.
Yeah. But I've had trade means trade. So
Right.
it doesn't mean I give you something and then
Right.
you say,
And then
"Bye."
you disappear.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I've had people do this to me, in theater, in radio, in
Mm.
like even when I was doing entertainment reporting, I would get tickets to like American Idol Live, go to the Real World House, go to Fashion Week in New York, and of course, everybody wants to go. And like, then people I don't even like people that were rude to me in 8th grade want to like Facebook me and be like, "Hey, saw you do Survivor." I'm like, "Go away. I don't care how old I am. I'm still
That's
mad that you were rude
awesome.
to me
Oh,
when I was
yeah.
12.
Like, oh,
Like,
I'm still
bye."
stewing on that. You're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
free. Yeah.
No, yeah. So I think people like have a misconception about networking. Like,
Oh, yeah,
you
for
think,
sure.
let me try to get something out of it or let me sell myself. And it's like, it's not about that. And if you want people to help you, then you need to have formed that relationship and trust with them.
Right.
I feel like that's super important.
And I think I agree with that as well, because before I got into voiceover, that's how I was. Like, networking wasn't networking for
Mhm.
me. I am a very what did I call myself? I'm very non-formal. Like, I don't like
You are very
formalities.
casual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like formalities. I don't like, dressing up for work. I hate all
Same,
that crap. Like, all,
same.
all that stuff can go away. And
Right.
so, like, anyone that came in for like business or anything like that, I would just be like, "Hey, how's it going? What's going on? What can I do for you?" I'm like, hey, just say,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, hold on, I was on the phone." They're like, "Oh wow, this guy is very unprofessional." I'm like, "No, I'm non-professional."
Yeah,
Very,
non-professional. And that's the
yeah.
thing. I mean, even like, when you're talking to someone like when I would interview people, I mean, I got to interview like when I would interview people or talk to people that were like, celebrities or bigger than
Mhm.
me, like I don't really freak out about it because I don't know, I'm just like they're just a
You're right.
person.
They're
And
just another person. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so my favorite musical artist of all time is Ben Folds.
Mm.
I was a Ben Folds 5 fan like in 1997 and I've been a fan ever since. His music has been very influential on my life. I've seen him in concert a million times. He was a host on the Sing Off, and I had the opportunity to interview him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, part of me is freaking out inside. The other part of
You're
me
like,
is like,
oh my God.
this is so cool though. Like you're
Right.
getting to talk to this person. And I'm not gonna be like, I just want to say I've listened to it. Like, I'm not gonna freak out like that because I'm like, totally agree with what you're saying. It's like informal, non-professional. It's just like laid back and friendly, and you're just
Right. Yeah.
talking to people. And you don't need to freak out about celebrities, voice actors, agents. Like you
Yeah.
don't need to put people like up here. It's just there's no reason for it.
But
You
you'll
can just have a
know,
genuine conversation.
like it's funny though, because when I first got into VO, especially down here in Texas, it's very like, how do I dance this here?
Yeah.
It's very there are people that are higher up in the voiceover industry down here that are like, you do this and you be professional and you be like, you show this person like every ounce of respect and blah, and it's just like you have to put on this veneer to be in like,
Yeah.
to like try and get into voiceover here. And there's so many people that like, once they like, I know people, I know of people that, were voiceovers, and then they stepped into like a casting role, or they got
Yeah.
asked to do some casting or something, and then suddenly they've become this omnipotent, like looking down upon the peasantry, like, don't you dare talk to me, don't email, where did you get my email, you scrum? And it's just like,
It's like, don't you remember what it was like when you were
right,
first
or
getting
don't
into
you,
it
like,
too?
you were just
Yeah,
down
you were
here
just
with the peasants. What are you?
you were just here a
Like,
minute ago. I'm
but
so with you. And I also
yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of that sometimes. Like you see a lot of, obviously, in like any, I mean, in any field, but in definitely in performing arts and things like that. You see a lot of ego and a lot of people like, I don't know, just who like to hear themselves talk and stuff.
yeah,
And I was like joking, I was going to start a Facebook group and just call it no bullshit voiceover. Like
yeah.
no BS. That's it. It's just,
That'd be great.
there's no reason for it. And, I mean, I feel like one of the lessons that I've learned over the last year and a half is like when I first was really trying to go big with
Mhm.
this, I was trying to be like what everybody else I thought wanted me to be. Like I'd
Yes.
really read over the
Yeah.
specs and be like, "Ooh, they want me to be like snarky or so." I don't know. Like I'd be like, "So I'm going to be snarky." And
Yep.
I've really like gotten to this point where I'm like, maybe it took 42 years, but hey, better late than never. I feel like really kind of comfortable with who I am, and
Right.
I've stopped like a lot of the BS of things that I was doing, and I feel like that has helped me so much. Like I book way more now than I did before. I mean, I definitely have gotten more experience and more confidence, but
Right.
I
Right.
think a lot of it is just being like, you know what, like I'm comfortable with who I am and I don't need to like, I don't know, put on a show or whatever. But when I see some people around me sometimes like act, I don't even know, like they're talking to Facebook groups, I'm like, where did this come
Right.
from?
Where
Like
did you get this?
who are
Like,
you? Are
yeah.
you even a real person? Like what you listen to the words coming out of your mouth. Like,
Right.
don't you want to be, I mean, don't you, if you want people to look up to you, like, shouldn't they look up to you because you set this good example? Like,
Right.
not because
You
you're like
set a good
flexing.
example. You're awesome. You're a nice
Yeah.
person. Like,
Yeah.
like the moment someone starts coming in and like flexing, I'm like, I'm good. Like I,
When,
I,
yeah.
I, I knew when I moved down here, I met some voiceovers that were, relatively big for this area, and it's funny because one of them even went to Japan and was taking pictures with one of my friends from when I lived in Japan. Like, that's my friend. Like,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, I asked him, hey, how did you meet this guy? How do you know him? I used to hang out with him every day when I lived out there. I talked to him all the time.
Yeah.
He's, I don't have anything for you. I'm sorry. I can't help. I'm like, I didn't ask any
You're like,
of,
bro, I'm
I
just
was just
asking
trying to
how
say,
you know my
hey,
friend.
right. I'm like, I'm
Chill.
trying to say what's up. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? And, but so that I was just like, huh, okay. But yeah,
That is
that
funny.
happens. Yeah, it's really weird. You to kind of kick back, you bring up that you're 42 years old a lot. Do you think your age has anything to do with your I don't know, success, or how comfortable you are? Like you
I
said,
like,
maybe you're just over it because now you're like, I'm 42, I don't care by now.
yeah, I like to
It's
just,
like, it's
so
all
I'm
over.
like, there's that character that Molly Shannon played on Saturday Night Live. She'd be like, I'm 50. And then she'd kick in the air. And like, that's me. I'm just always shouting my age. I don't know why I'm doing
I was
that
like,
today.
does that
Well,
do anything for you?
a lot of
Or
people think I'm younger than I am. They're surprised to hear that I have an adult son who
oh
I
yeah,
play video games with. And anyway, I mean, I feel like, yeah, I mean, I think like being 42 or being in my 40s is like advantageous. I was always worried about getting older, but I've just kind of, I don't know, like I just don't really like I said, I didn't put on makeup today. I don't care. You can't make me. I'm amazed I even straighten my hair. Usually it's just a wild mess. I don't care. You can't make me. I don't care
thank
anymore.
you for at least straightening your. No,
I
I'm just
straightened
kidding.
my
I'm
hair for
kidding.
this moment. But yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I've, I've lived like a decent amount of life, and I've had a lot of good experiences and bad experiences, and they've all kind of shaped who I am. And I don't know, like I just, yeah, I don't know why I bring it up. Why do I bring it up so much?
I don't know. I thought you like you know you start when you listen to people, you hear what they say and like I'm like she touches on that all the time. I'm like that must be very important to her. Like
it's really important that
I know. I was
42.
like it must be very important. Let me ask her about that. It's not important at all.
I don't.
Okay, right.
No, it's not important at all. I don't even care. The only time I really drive it home is when I talk about gaming, because I feel like it's so unique. It's like a 42-year-old mom who like. I don't think people understand. I don't like kind of like video games. Like I love them. And if I'm not doing voiceover, that is what I'm doing. League of Legends,
see you logged into League or Valorant all the
time.
Valorant,
Rust, Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, like anything. I don't like any, like if an FPS game comes out or like a battle royale, like I'm at Fortnite, I'm in it. I have they were doing a Rick and Morty event. I have the Morty skin.
Yeah.
And I just think it's kind of funny to be like, it is funny to me because I think to myself, like, when I'm playing Fortnite, like, first of all, I play to win. I'm very competitive. Yeah. You're more laid back. I know when we play League, you're very laid back, but I'm like, I came to win. So when I kill people and I send them back to the lobby of Fortnite, I'm like, do they know that it's a 42-year-old mom?
Be like, you wish they had prox chat so you could go in and be like, oh, you've lost to a 42-year-old mom.
I wish you could just flash my webcam for a minute. I know, flash a webcam and be like, hi, how are you? I've got dinner in the oven.
Like, enjoy the lobby, Sonny.
Yeah, exactly. So I do bring it up quite a bit. It's funny because I will play like Valorant, and there's team chat, so I'll be talking, and every now and then a kid will be like, are you an adult? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you a mom? I'm like, yeah. They're like, can I call you mom? I'm like, sure. And they're like, mom, can I have your skin in the game? I'm like, sure. And then they're like, mom, come play with us, mom. It's kind of nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My name in a lot of games is like Potato Chip.
Yeah.
Potato Chip is my name. It's like a lot of variations on Potato Chip, but the reason is that my aim is that of a potato, and I'm salty like a potato chip. But so like kids in games will call me like Potato Mom and stuff. It's funny.
That's
awesome.
Funny.
It's unique. Yeah, there was a time like these kids would ask me all the time to play. They'd be like, Potato Mom, come play. We're all out. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I mean, it's like I think for one thing, it kind of comes back to voiceover, because like what's something unique about you? To me, like that's my thing. I don't think it's easy to find, and I have this dream and this goal of voicing for Riot or for Blizzard. Especially I mean, League is like I would actually like cry many tears about it. And so I feel like that's sort of my like shtick. It's like already there's not a lot of females that play competitive games. They're kind of hard to find. And I'm always like on Twitter like, where's an all-girl team for Clash?
Well, I mean, games in general, even now. I mean, more girls are getting into gaming, and
for sure.
There are some that are competitive, but like it's still. I mean,
but again, it's toxic. You got to have thick skin. You're gonna go in there and you're gonna play Valorant.
As soon as you get on voice comms, oh my god, girl gamer, suck.
Yeah, girl gamer. Get back in the kitchen. A million things way worse than that. And
absolutely.
I'm usually pretty calm. But the thing that really gets me, like sometimes I like rage, and I feel like I'm gonna end up on somebody's YouTube channel. Like they're gonna be like, look at this lunatic raging. But what really gets me is when there's another girl on my team. And someone's really bullying her, like a guy, and no one's standing up for her. Like I went crazy in this game. Like I was swearing, I was yelling at them, and I was like, you should be ashamed of yourself. I was like, this guy is attacking this girl over and over, and you're silent. You're not saying anything. And they're like, oh, here we go. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, so you listen, Silent Andy, you don't want to say anything for 20 minutes. And now that I speak up, you want to be like, oh my God, like shut up.
Oh man, I love it. Oh,
so like I've got like a feistiness. I've got like a feistiness in me. Like,
Oh, yeah.
listen,
No,
I'm not
that's
gonna.
awesome.
And when they want to like flame, I don't care. So I tell them, I'm like, I'll just say on mic, I'm like, you have no effect on me.
Right.
I don't care. And it's funny that you think I care. And they're like, are you mad? You mad?
Yeah,
You
you
mad? I'm like,
mad, bro? Oh,
I'm not.
listen, she's real
I'm
mad,
like,
bro.
I'm not mad. You literally don't affect my day. Like, if you want to keep talking, have a blast. I don't care.
Right.
But I hear like how other girls are spoken to in games,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, there are times that I get upset. And there was one day, not that long ago, that a bunch of guys were giving me a hard time, and I was telling them, to leave me alone, and they were saying that I was saying like inappropriate. I was never saying anything, obviously.
Well,
They're saying
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying inappropriate things and trying to report me
Yeah,
for
try to
like,
report, yeah.
yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"What the heck?" Like,
It's
"Oh
so
my gosh."
dumb. It's such a weird thing, like, what
It's toxic no matter
yeah.
what, though. It's toxic to guys too. They're
Oh, yeah, for
terrible. Like,
sure. Yeah.
people are so bad. So, yeah, I mean, it's just hard it's hard being a
It's,
female in
yeah.
games, but I also like it's like a really nice way to de-stress. It's like something that I'm really passionate about and I love doing. So, yeah, I like to throw my age around when I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about gaming.
But
Yeah.
you're in a number of games too, right? Like, so you
Yeah, I mean, I have some games coming out this year, so, like, okay,
Oh.
well, oh, well, excuse me.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
I'm in there's a VR game that's coming out, should be
Oh,
really
right.
soon.
You've
Yeah,
shared
Eye of
that,
the
yeah.
Temple, and I'm
Mhm.
the, Eye of the Temple, there's only one voice, it's me, the voice of the guardian in the temple. The game is
Nice.
so cool. I played the beta of it, and I could not handle the emotion that this is
Oh,
showing.
yeah.
Couldn't handle I was screaming and trying to take the head thing up because it's, like, floating
Yeah, you're
panels
like
and moving. I was, like, literally I looked like an idiot. I wish someone filmed this. I was like, "Ah!" Like, in my living room,
I think
like,
that's why people made VR headsets in the first place. They just wanna
so
record people and doing dumb crap like
so embarrassing. I literally couldn't handle it. I'm also in Gourd, which is, made from the devs of The Witcher.
Oh,
Um,
man.
yeah, so I'm super excited about that. I'm really, really excited.
Wait, are you supposed to be talking about this stuff yet?
I'm allowed to
Is
say
it
it. I'm just
out?
not allowed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was
No,
like,
no,
"Wait a
I'm
minute."
just not allowed to say who.
Cut the chat.
Cut
Cut the
it!
stream. Yeah,
Cut the
no,
feed. No, I'm not allowed to say who, but I can say
okay, but you could say
I'm in
you're in it.
Gourd.
Okay.
I also recorded or yeah, I did the voice for something for Joan of Arc for Rise of Kingdoms, which is a mobile
Oh,
game.
yeah, yep.
I did the trailer for Salt and Sacrifice, which is a new game that's coming out,
Jeez.
man. And my mom's in a video game.
Oh, yeah, you said you did a game with you and your mom, right? Yeah.
It's just no,
Oh,
it's
it's
just
just
my
your mom.
yeah, but
Oh, okay.
she plays like an old lady who's like a fighter and loves to eat, and
Oh, that's
it was the
awesome.
funniest. It was she doesn't know anything about games, so I'm like trying to explain it to her, and
Try
she's
to
like,
explain yeah.
okay, yeah, but it was so hilarious for her to do that. And I was like, Mom, I mean, a lot of games have like older characters, like older voices are hard to find. Like
Oh,
you're
yeah,
in an
for
untapped.
sure.
I was like, you're in an untapped market, Fran. You're gonna be
Yeah,
booking
she's
stuff
gonna
left
be
and right.
pulling stuff
But
all
yeah,
over.
so,
Oh,
but
man.
yeah, I'm excited about the games coming out. It's like literally a dream come true. I've always been like, no, not known, but like the thing I book is like commercials,
Right.
explainer videos, corporate narration, and I set a goal this year. I was like, this is the year that we do gaming and animation, and I feel like
Get
really
into that
lucky.
character work for
But
sure,
then
yeah.
next year,
Yeah.
look out, world. You're
What
gonna
do you
see me.
yeah, okay.
See me in an anime, see me
That's
hopefully in a
yeah.
series,
See,
hopefully in a
yeah, we're coming up on the hours, so I was actually about to segue right into that to
get
so
into
I
it.
don't kill the rest of your evening. I just wanted to know what do you have going on right now? What are you interested in? What are you building towards? What's the plan for you?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing was like, I mean, definitely more in animation.
Mm-hmm.
That's like now that I feel like I'm starting to make some headway in gaming, I want to do better and do more in animation. And then just continue to hustle. I just tweeted not that long ago, like my goal for 2022 is to completely pay off my debt, including my student loans with my voice. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. I
That
said I
would
put it
be
there.
sick.
I will retweet that crap when it actually
Yep,
happens
when
and
it
say I
happens,
told you it
yep.
was going to happen. But yeah,
Yes.
that's really it. Is just continuing to push myself harder. I'm a real competitive person with myself
That's
mostly.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that extra motivation. All right,
You say
well,
that, but you've never seen me rage in a game yet. So
no,
say
not
that
yet.
again.
No, I was like,
Give
not
it
yet.
time. We're gonna clash again
Yeah, I was like,
soon.
we'll clash again, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, before I let you go, is there anything that you would like to promote of yourself? Anything that you have going on that you
Oh my
want people to
gosh.
check out, or you come see, or what do you got?
I mean, you can go to my website, which is voiceoversbygina.com, and it's at Gina Scarpa on most socials, except I think TikTok is Voiceovers by Gina, where I just basically sing all the time because I love singing. But I also just want to thank you for having me and say that the voiceover community has been nothing but good to me. I feel so lucky, not only for the project I booked, but the projects I've booked, but the friends I've made. Like 2 years ago, I had no friends. I pretty much
I have no friends.
I had no friends in voiceover for
Oh,
sure,
okay.
and now I just I had no friends. I had no friends in voiceover, and now I just have like people that I talk to every day and that are, really supportive, good people. So
Yeah,
I love this community. I love what I do, and I'm always happy to talk to people and share whatever I can to help you along as well.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Well,
Oh,
that'll
I'm gonna
do
go
it.
make
I
tacos.
know. I'm gonna go make
Yeah.
me a little something to eat. Chat.
Yeah.
Chat. Thank you for joining us. Oh, damn. I guess. Maybe no. I need to.
What?
I need to think of that next time. So I was thinking of like other like shows and things do, and I'm like, damn, I should have asked if Chat had any questions for you, but
Yeah.
but
Come on now. No,
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
we'll do that next time. We'll have you
Yeah.
back on or something again later on down the line.
This is so fun.
Yeah,
I
I
was
was like,
nervous,
this
but
is
I don't know why.
yeah,
This
I
was
don't know
great.
why either. Yeah, this is
No, I get nervous about everything. It's what I do. You
One-
should have seen me when there's bad weather outside or anything
Oh
terrible
yeah.
happening. I'm always nervous.
Once I start like podcasting with or interviewing like the big names, and then I bring you back on, then you should be nervous because then I'm very huge, and I'm a huge name in the industry, and you need to pay me a
Yeah.
little respect. So
Yeah. Pay me some respect, will you? I'll have my people talk to your
I
people.
know.
And
Yeah,
we'll,
yeah. Call
we'll see.
my manager
We'll
to
see if
he
I can squeeze it in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
might be too big for this.
Probably, yeah.
Never, never.
But all right, Gina. Well, thanks for joining me tonight
Thank
for
you.
for this episode. Chat. We will. I'm not going to be streaming the rest of the night, but I will stream again tomorrow for community night. So thanks for joining us. We'll probably play some maybe Sea of Thieves or something tomorrow. Something fun, something to hang out with. Maybe some more Jackbox.
Oh, Sea of Thieves is so fun.
I know it is, right? Either
I cried
that
during
or-
that game once. I'll tell you about it some other time.
Yeah, you'll have to tell me.
Full
You'll
on
have to
tears.
Tell me about it.
Full
yeah.
on tears. My boat went down.
Oh,
Full,
man. Oh,
loud, blubbering,
man.
crying.
That
I take games
sucks.
very seriously,
Yeah,
Mike.
for sure. I see. Yeah. But all right, that'll be it.
All right.
Thanks everybody for coming in, and
Yeah,
we'll
thank
see
you.
you guys next time. We'll see you online. Peace.
Bye.